out there and do some gardening. Get rid of that front lawn or the back lawn, find a small space. Even if you've only got this much light coming into the garden, you can do a square-foot garden, plant intensively, and improve your quality of food, food safety, and availability also.
And you can harvest something out of that garden every single day of the year.
Year-round, yes.
Bob?
Healthy stuff.
Yeah. Jason?
Speaking about John, and you can probably help with this, on the prosperity garden, are there any laws in Austin or city ordinances that would prevent you from growing food crops in your front lawn?
Well, we call it prosperity garden in our store. That's true. Instead of the old-fashioned way, because of the economy and everything, we changed it to a prosperity garden. And there are in some of these what do they call them? These little areas.
Homeowner association.
What are they called?
Homeowner association.
HOAs.
There you go.
HOAs.
Some guidelines. You know, the laws are made to be broken.
And it's easier to get forgiveness than to get permission.
That's true. So get out there and do it, and get your neighbors to do it. We have some problems, and we need to start growing food because it doesn't take but 3 days for those trucks to stop coming into the community with food on it, and you know the whole reserve of food is on the back of a truck somewhere. That's the warehouse for food coming in here, and anything can happen. So having a little bit of food, and in reality a lot of food in the yard, makes all the difference in the world. So my suggestion is get rid of those darn lawns.
And like the bumper sticker says, when you complain about the farmer, don't talk with your mouth full.
I'd like to mention something. There's a product on the market called Picloram. It grays on with P+D. And big ranchers are using that in their coastal fields because it's a broadleaf herbicide. It doesn't bother the grass. And that stuff goes through the cow and comes out just as strong as it went in. And if you use manure from a cow that grazed on that field, or even compost made from manure from that field, you can kill everything in your garden for years.
Whoa.
Bad stuff.
But if you have a source of manure and you want to know if it has the picloram in it or not, it's pretty easy to test and find out. It doesn't take a chemical at all. It takes a bucket and some water and a weed.
And water a plant with it. Just water a plant. A bean or a pea. A peanut really shows up, but a legume shows up in the hurry.
Take your manure, put it in a bucket of water, soak it for 24 hours, and go pour that water on the plants that they're mentioning, and watch the plant for 24 hours. You'll know in a big hurry if there was any herbicide in that manure.
Well, how many individuals are eating the meat that the cows have?
It's too bad we let Bruce get away. He could go on for that for about 2 hours, but he would miss his show. Go ahead, Malcolm. Anything else you want to add? Judy?
Okay, the only thing I think we haven't talked about that's near and dear to my heart are herbs, which are part of the food group. But they are also wonderful multitasking plants that you can use for cleaning, which is one thing we talked about. They're wonderful in the garden for attracting beneficials and repelling pests. So when you're planting your garden and getting rid of your grass, be sure to plant some herbs in there with them.
You added what you wanted. That other things that I would say, and I'll get to your question in just a second, is support your local organic people. Support, well, there was one question that we didn't get to that somebody said, gosh, the box stores are carrying organics. Is this going to hurt the niche marketing of the small nursery? My answer is, where are you going to learn to use it? You know, the box stores may have this, but with the exception of a few individuals in this audience I know, they can't tell you how to use those products. Support the people that help you learn how to grow and grow well. It's one thing to put a product on the shelf and put a price on it based, you know, on what little markup you can get by. I know we pay our employees pretty darn well. I'm sure that everyone here does the same thing. And that's what you're paying for. If you pay us, you know, $1 more for a product than what you buy at H-E-B or one of the box stores, you know, you're supporting the knowledge that we're giving you. Support your local farmers, support your local nurserymen, and don't forget to say thank you to the people that help you out with this.
Amen.
Heather, one more question back here.
I just wanted to ask, in line with the talk about compost tea, I was trying to mix up just a batch of Garrick juice, and that was one of the ingredients, and I found when they started talking about soaking it and all that, I just not set up to do that kind of thing, and I found some organic, some compost concentrate would that work just as well as compost tea? I mean,
It's probably humic acid. No, compost tea, what compost tea has in it is the biological life. I love Howard Garrett to death, but I don't think Howard to this day really understands the difference in compost leachate and compost tea. Tea is a brewed material using, in my opinion, y'all correct me if you feel differently, but it's a brewed material using a tremendous amount of oxygen to increase the amount of microbes. Compost leachate is simply made by soaking compost in water for a little while and using the liquid. I think if you're making your own Garrett juice, it would be more accurate to say use compost leachate than compost tea.
Compost leachate is what the giant forests live on, and in the garden you put a layer of compost out there and some mulch on top of that. Every time it rains, every time you water, you get compost leachate and all of the benefits that it offers. And it's not aerobic other than it's sitting on top of the ground.
Right.
So the only way to really get compost tea is to brew it.
To brew it or buy it very, very fresh. Malcolm gives away brewed compost tea at a lot of the events he goes to where he's speaking. You can always check with him on places that he's going to be. John's nursery makes fresh compost tea every weekend. We make fresh compost tea every Saturday and Sunday until we run out of it. We have it available. I don't know how much y'all, we charge about $5 a gallon for ours, and we're not paying for the making it, we're paying for that $2,000 tea maker. And so that's where your expense when you go out and buy compost tea. But you'll find it available around, or it's pretty easy to make your own. If you go to Bruce's website, he has pretty simple to follow instructions on there of how to build your own $30 brewer.
Well, now that I know that you have it in the seminars, I'll just get it there.
Very good.
And that 5-gallon bucket of it that you sell, isn't that further diluted when you actually use it?
Oh yeah, the water is just a carrier. I think the rate that, and again, I still think Elaine Ingham is probably the world authority on compost tea, and she recommends up to 4 gallons per acre. How much water do you mix with it? Just as much as it takes to spread over the area. But remember, if you're using city water, especially if you're using water that contains chloramine, which stays in the water a whole lot longer than chlorine, the more city water you mix with your compost tea, the more you're killing the microbes in the tea.
So what do you use?
Rainwater.
Rainwater.
Everybody should have a rainwater barrel.
Distilled water, things like that.
Yeah.
I understood, though, that the liquid humates can bind up some of the chloramines and make it less of a problem. So I heard that somewhere. So then begin to add that, but it does kill the microbes. So this is a different process. The
Yep.
rainwater, the distilled water, the well water, those are the things.
And if you're using a pump-up sprayer or something like that, where you're not actively flowing water through it, get those same little drops you put in the fish aquarium to protect your fish. Those same drops will take out the chlorine and the chloramine, and you'll end up with a lot more life in your tea. Back to the very back of the room.
I have a question about the herbs. If you were to plant 3 herbs, like in a big garden bed, to repel bad insects, which ones would it be?
Herbs to repel insects, Judy or Malcolm?
Well, I would put garlic in, any member of the garlic family, chives, onions.
Just sort of around?
I plant them around the edges. Oh, well, I don't know about what I think herbs are even better at in the garden is attracting beneficials. Now, they're good at repelling insects like mosquitoes and things like that if you put them on you. In the garden, they bring in the beneficials. Any of the parsley or cilantro, those that make the flowers, the good insects will come in and feed on those and lay their eggs. Rosemary is a wonderful all-purpose herb. It smells good, it repels insects, it repels deer. You can use it to clean your house, you can eat it, you can do a lot of things. So I guess those 3 groups, if I had to
Just
pick
plant
3.
lots of them. Share. If
That's right.
If we didn't
Yeah.
have caterpillars, we wouldn't have butterflies.
That's right, you don't have to have just 3, you can have a whole bunch.
Yeah. And by the way, with mosquitoes, garlic, best repelling substance I know. There's some great garlic, granular garlic products out there that will keep mosquitoes away for some time. Well, all of you guys, thanks for coming out, and we certainly appreciate you being here. Thanks for coming to the Festival of Flowers. This is for the big spring gardening event. Remember in October, the big herb market, not anywhere nearly as big and diverse as this, but I imagine it'll be at the Pearl Brewery again this year, and I hope you will turn out for the herb market. In the meantime, get out and garden. It's a lot of fun. Thank y'all so much.